Hello, Namaskar, and a very good afternoon to all the viewers watching NCRT's live interactive session. This is Simran Singh, and you have all connected with us through eVidya channel number 5. Besides, there are so many different mediums through which you all can connect with us. You can also participate in our live sessions by raising your queries, your questions in the comment section of our YouTube channel, that is NCERT Official. So for this half an hour, we have a session of English for all class 5th students, and we are going to discuss chapter number 8, titled as Nobody's Friend and the Little Bully. Now, who is the person that has got no friends, and what do we mean by the term bully? Do you know that? If yes, then do mention it in the comment section of NCRT Official, or give us a call at this number, that is 8800440559. Further, you all can reach out to us through the official mail IT for all class 5th students. It is dth.class5@ciet.nic.in. And viewers, we are also joined by an expert in the conversation. I will be introducing you to the guest for the program, but before that, here is an important piece of information for all of you. We are proud of the fact that India assumed the G20 presidency and will convene the G20 Leaders Summit for the first time in the country in this year, that's 2023. The nation is deeply committed to democracy and multilateralism. India's G20 presidency is a watershed moment in her history, as it seeks to play a very important role by finding global pragmatic solutions for the well-being of everyone, and in doing so, manifesting the true spirit of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, or should I say, the world is one family. So allow me to introduce you to Dr. Amit Ranjan. Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar.
We welcome
Hello,
you.
viewers.
He is serving as assistant professor at CIET NCRT. So sir, let's begin the conversation, and in the first place, let's try and understand this term, nobody's friend and the little bully. Who are we talking about?
Well, somebody, we have friends.
Yes.
You have friends, I have friends, we have friends. This one's friend, that one's friend, nobody's friend, which means it is a negation of a body. And so think of other words like nobody, which start with no and negate the meaning.
Okay, is it a nonsense?
Nonsense, very good. Sense, nonsense.
No one?
No one.
Nowhere?
Nowhere. Know how?
No how?
No. Know how is KNOWHOW. HOW. Which is the opposite. Know how is knowing how.
Oh yes.
Well, so there are two no's, NO and KNOW. NO is no, the opposite of yes, and KNOW is to know, knowledge, isn't it? So there are words which sound similar but may have different meanings. Anyway, so this is an interesting title, somebody who does not have friends, somebody who is not a friend of anybody.
Yes.
So there are two ways of saying it, an active way and passive way. So here this person is not a friend of anybody. Nobody likes being a friend with this person. It's
Or
not
either
that this
person doesn't like to be friends with anyone around?
No, it's the other way around. Nobody wants to be friends with him or her. That is why they are nobody's friend. So apostrophe S is the possessive case, which means belonging to. So nobody wants this person as a friend.
Okay.
It's the other way around. Of course,
We
it works
accept that.
mutually. Like one doesn't like one person, the other person also doesn't like. But there are certain characteristics of certain people which people don't like, and which is what this poem is about. It's a message to children to be amiable, to share. Let's read the poem and then we can discuss the message and everything. And it's by the famous writer Enid Blyton, whose name you have heard somewhere. You've seen it on the library shelves or heard it somewhere. You cannot escape Enid Blyton. We'll discuss Enid Blyton at the end and her career, but let's first look at the poem and the story very quickly. All right. She had some sweets that she would not share. She had a book that she would not lend. She wouldn't let anyone play with her doll. she's nobody's friend. So this is about a girl who, what all does she have? She has sweets,
She has got books,
she has a book,
and she has also got a doll.
doll. So she's got a lot of nice things.
Yes.
But sweets she eats all by herself, and she has a book which she does not lend. Lend is to give something to someone which would be returned to you. And so people lend books to each other. If you have a nice comic book or a nice graphic novel, you lend it to me, I read it, return it back to you, then we share the story, have a good laugh or discuss it. But she is very possessive and she would not lend her book. And she also has a beautiful doll, but she would not let any of her friends play with that doll. And that's why nobody likes to be friends with her. Some interesting word formations you would see over here is the third line, she wouldn't let anyone play with her doll. This is would not is shortened to wouldn't. Would, and N-O-T becomes N''T. So nobody likes to be her friend. Then there is a boy. He had some toffee and ate every bit. So he eats all the toffee, his friends are looking at him and he does not care, he just eats his chocolate and does not share. He had a tricycle, he wouldn't lend. So a cycle with 3 tires which children ride, and that also he wouldn't share with his friends, he would not lend it to anyone. He never let anyone play with his train. His parents have also given him a train, a toy train, but he plays with it by himself, and so he's nobody's friend. You can see the repetition in the first stanza and the second stanza. The qualities of the girl are very similar to the qualities of the boy. They don't lend or share, and therefore they are nobody likes to be friends with them.
And one question that arises in my mind is why are they doing this? Why do certain kids or people feel not to share things with others?
Yeah, because they think they are possessive about it, they become selfish about it, and parents need to guide them, tell them that sharing is caring, and it's only in collaborating, in doing things together that you can find happiness and
Giving and receiving.
absolutely, and that act is much more important than the train itself. How much can you play with that train yourself? When you have other friends, then you can play different kinds of games with it. You can plan strategies, have
Maybe
fun
we
with your
can
friends.
just lend someone a train and borrow a car.
Yeah, or play together.
Yes.
That's much more fun. And so that's how friendships build, and those are the memories that you remember. And otherwise, and human beings are social beings. We cannot really do without friends and our loved ones. So if a person is selfish, they end up lonely. Nobody wants to be friends with them. All right, the last stanza. But I will share all of my sweets with you. So there's a she, there's a he, and there's a poet or a narrator. So one cannot say that it's just the poet. You will learn about these things later about poetic devices, but the character here is saying that this is the third character, but I will share all of my sweets with you. My ball and my books and my games I will lend. Here's half my apple and half my cake. I am your friend. So these are the values of friendship, that whatever you have, sweets, balls, books, games, whatever else you have, you share your tiffin during lunchtime, during your recess, you share your toys, you share your thoughts, and that's how friendships go.
And is that a way to say that these are the qualities of a friend, how a person can be friends to another one, and
Absolutely.
how you just kind of ignore other people and avoid, and somehow they start avoiding you as well?
Absolutely. And life is about memories. These are the childhood memories which you relish for life, and your childhood friends are the best friends in life, because later you get busy doing jobs and work and everything else. So it's childhood when you play these games selflessly, happily, and those are the memories that last forever. So it's very important to share and care, and these go a long way, go your entire life too. And what you're born into is your family. So you have your parents, your siblings, your brother, sister, your uncles, aunties, etc., etc., grandparents, but you choose your friends. And that's very interesting.
We have heard such stories like from our grandparents. There was a woman once and she used to visit my grandmother till she was alive. And she told me that she used to study with me right from first standard.
Absolutely.
So there are certain friendships that that are forever.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then hundreds of examples one can
Yes.
give. It's also in our mythology, the friendship of Krishna and Sudama, for example. One is a king and one is a poor man, but they remember their childhood friendship, and when they meet like they are equals, and
Yes.
they are equal. So friendship is a very important relationship in life which we build ourselves. We are not born into it. We build because we like each other, because we like to share things together, share our thoughts, share our paintings, share what we write, share what we
Now
read,
I have
share our
another
stories.
question related to that, if you allow me.
Sure.
So if I am a class 5th student and I want to be friends with the other classmates as well, now I am ready to share my things, but I am a little bit shy. I am reluctant to go and talk and open up. What should I do?
Yeah, there are lots of kids that are shy, and some kids who are extroverts. So there are introverts and extroverts. Introverts are those who are shy, extroverts are who are able to express themselves better. So that problem does exist in school. But if you are an introvert, if you are shy, you should just talk to people who you think will understand you, and you can get a feeling from their body language, and you should be a little forthcoming. Try and talk to a few people who you like, who you think you will like, and they'll definitely reciprocate. Maybe they are thinking you are rude or arrogant, that is why you don't talk. So one should open up a little. And once you open up, you will see that everybody wants to share, and everybody has stories to tell, and things to do which can be fun together.
All right, well said.
So this is a poem by Enid Blyton. Now let us go back and see some problems over here. So Enid Blyton, we'll come to that to her career later. She is one of the most prolific writers of our times. Prolific means somebody who does a lot of work. So she has some 7,500 stories to her credit, in a career spanning 50 years, I don't know how many books, some 2,000 books, or one has to look up. But she was criticized. So she started writing from the 1930s, but she was criticized in the 1950s for conforming means agreeing to traditional roles, what the society tells us. And also she is writing from England, so she writes only about white kids. Whereas England is a very multicultural society which has Indians, South Asians, Africans, all kinds of people. And so when you're writing books about children, of course, you have to write about all kinds of children, and not just British kids or white kids. So she was criticized for conforming to, now you know the word conforming, which is agreeing to traditional roles, traditional ideas that a society has. And so she has been criticized lately of that. So look in this poem, what does the girl have? The girl has a doll, sweets and a book. What does the boy have? He has a tricycle and a train.
Yes, toffee, a tricycle.
So these are the assumptions that we make, and this very early on in life you should understand that these are assumptions. There is nothing natural about these things, that a girl should play with a doll and a guy should play with a train. A girl can also play with a train, a guy can also play with a doll. And this is how these are called stereotypes, meaning they are set ideas that are fed into our minds and we start following them. So if I tell you a story about a nurse and a doctor, what will you think? One is called Savita and one is called Ramesh. Who's the nurse and who's the doctor?
Okay, that's a tough one. So as we talk about breaking stereotypes, I can say that the Savita can be a doctor and the other one may be a nurse.
Exactly. Most people would think that Savita is the nurse and Ramesh is the doctor, right? And this is how it happens, because in childhood you are told gender roles. You're told what boys do and what girls do, and these are not, anybody can do anything.
And of course,
which is
gender
why,
is a social construct, so we
which
do
is why,
not abide by the
yeah,
rules.
which is why Enid Blyton has been criticized for writing such poems, even though it's a beautiful poem about friendship. But and she was writing 100 years ago when the society was very stratified about roles that.
And as you mentioned, it was 1950s.
Yeah, this is 1930s even.
And that to a woman writer.
Yeah.
So already there might have been certain challenges in front of us, but at the same time, when we talk about the stories that were written like 100 years ago or maybe 50 years ago, the relevance in that aspect is very different from today.
Yes, but she was criticized in her own time, and people started understanding that this has to change. The way we think has to change.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next story, which is also by Enid Mary Blyton. It's called The Little Bully. And you asked a very good question, what or who is a bully? What do you think? What does the word, where does the word bully come from? What could it mean?
Okay, that is
the
maybe.
picture is from the original book, sometime in the 1940s, I think. It's a collection of stories. And you can see a boy and crabs and lobsters and all kinds of sea animals surrounding him, harassing him, whatever. Anyway, does that give you a hint? Or
bullying or teasing someone, or maybe being very rude or annoying to someone. And bullying doesn't stand in a positive sense. So of course there has to be something negation, some negatives attached to it.
Interesting. It's a strange word, isn't it? It sounds like bull, who's friendly, bully, Mr. Bully. You know?
Or yes, maybe little bully could be a bull who can be a friend to someone.
Yeah. So you rightly said, a bully is somebody who harasses other people, abuses them, is rude to them because they are physically stronger, or they are psychologically able to abuse you because you are a shy person. So that is the definition of a bully. But interestingly, the word itself, where does it come from? Now, it could come from bull, that a bull is strong. That again is a sort of an image of a bull, and therefore the bull can dominate.
Strong,
scene.
Aggressive, dominant.
Yeah. And cow we don't think of as aggressive, but bull we think of as aggressive. Again, the same girl-boy dichotomy, but it doesn't really come from bull. This is words have a very long, complicated journey in their lives. Words also have lives. So this is a Dutch word. Dutch is anything which is from Netherlands, which is boel, B-O-E-L, which was used for brother actually, and then a sweetheart. And then the words of endearment or the words of liking often change form, which is very complicated how it happens. And the association with bull strength also, etc. So in 400 years this is about let's say 1300, that boel was a word for brother or for a sweetheart. And within 300-400 years the meaning became somebody who harasses other people, especially amongst kids.
That's a long journey.
That's
for
a long
word.
journey, yeah. But it's very fascinating how words change according to their context.
So can we say that the words also evolve just like human beings?
Absolutely, they have a life of their own. So I will not read out the story. Read out the story for yourself, and you would also see that the story has been adapted in certain ways, and which also how stories are adapted to suit cultures. So the character in the story is Henry, but in our book he is Hari, because we identify with the name Hari better. But the sentiment is the same, the idea is the same. In all schools there are shy children who are bullied by other children who want to dominate them, and this should be always kept in mind by the schools and should never be encouraged either by parents or by schools, and they should take all actions, because this is what later in life becomes a problem. For those who are bullied, it becomes trauma. For those who are bullies, remain bullies until they are corrected.
And
So
also
it's
they
very
can
important to
have a
correct
long
it in
history
school.
of guilt associated when they understand that it's actually the wrong thing to do.
Absolutely. All right, so tell you the story in very brief. You also don't have much time. So Henry in the original of Enid Blyton and Harry in our textbook is a regular bully at school because he's well built and he thinks he can dominate others. What he does, he pinches everyone. So he goes and pinches everyone, boy or girl, and he's strong. So when they try to pinch him back, he pinches them even harder and they cry out in pain. So eventually they have a school picnic in which they go in a bus, and nobody wanted to sit with him because he would pinch. And so everybody was having fun, enjoying singing songs, but nobody would sit with Hari because he would pinch. Nobody wants to be his friend. Like the previous poem, nobody wants to be his friend. And so when they reach the picnic spot by the ocean, by the seashore, he opens his tiffin and his mother has packed egg and sandwiches and whatever. And we saw that he and she do not like to share their sweets, and similarly Hari over here, same trait, does not want to share. So he is happy that even though he is very sad that nobody wants to talk to him, he at least thinks that he'll have his full meal.
Yes, he is happy with the meal. He can adjust with the friends around.
But suddenly animals come out from the ocean. There's a crab that comes and pinches his hand. There's a lobster that comes and pinches him. And he cries out in pain and says, "Why are you doing this?" And they tell him. So this is called personification, when animals behave like human beings in stories. And this is a way to tell stories, to convey messages, as happens in Panchtantra or Jatak tales. You've heard many animal stories of, let's say,
so
the
is it
monkey
only
and the
for
crocodile.
animals when we talk about personification, or sometimes non-living objects can also personify as living objects?
Absolutely. Walls can talk to you, trees
Yes.
can talk to you. Trees are of course living, but walls can talk to you, toys can talk to you. There are several toy stories that Enid Blyton has written. You've seen several toy stories as movies. And so these sea creatures, lobsters and crabs, come and pinch him, and he cries out in pain, and they say, "Well, we've heard that you are a very good pincher, so we want to be friends with you and return the favor to you. We'll also pinch you." And then he learns his lesson and stops bullying other. So it's a very good message in this story by Enid Blyton. So her messages are right, except that we saw that the gender problems that are there, which you rightly said, in that time probably the society had not evolved so much. Anyway, quickly to end Enid Blyton's career, she was born in 1897, died in 1968. A novelist, poet and teacher, like I said, a prolific writer. She was almost writing 50 books a year, and there were allegations that some other people may have been writing it. We do not know about that. But she wrote feverishly whatever came to her mind, and as you can see, 7,500 stories. And you have heard all these, somewhere you've heard these names, Famous Five, Secret Seven, Noddy. When you go to your school library during your library period, you'll see an Enid Blyton somewhere. And Enid Blyton has been read by around 600 million people and translated to nearly 90 languages. Such is the power of her storytelling.
There's a lot we can learn, and nowadays when we talk about storytelling, it is not only restricted to the classrooms, but it has also evolved into a beautiful profession in itself.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's the art of telling a story. Thank you so much, sir,
Thank you so
for
much.
connecting with us, for your time and for sharing these details with us. Thank you to all the viewers for connecting with CIT and NCERT in this particular interactive live telecast of English. Next up we have a session of Hindi, और इसका विषय रहेगा एक कहानी आपके साथ साझा करेंगे जिसका विषय है एक दिन की बादशाहत, और यह चर्चा होगी कक्षा 5वीं के सभी विद्यार्थियों के लिए. And before wrapping up this particular English conversation for all of you, here is an important piece of information regarding the availability of NCERT textbooks. The information is also flashing on your screens. So as you all know that for the academic year 2023 to 2024, NCERT textbooks, they are available all across the country, and you may purchase them directly from the different sales counters of NCERT that are currently located at New Delhi, Ahmedabad, Bengaluru, Kolkata and Guwahati. Also, if you would like to place an order online for NCERT textbooks, then you may do so from the website flashing on your screens. It is www.ncertbooks.ncert.gov.in. And also, if you would like to download these textbooks in the soft copy or the PDF version, that is also possible. And 3 different mediums for that is Diksha platform, ePathshala platform, and also NCERT's mobile application. In order to attain all the information regarding these textbooks or the authorized vendors, feel free to explore the website of NCERT, that is www.ncert.nic.in. Once again, thanking all of you for connecting with us on the program. Keep watching eVidya channels and stay tuned for another program for half an hour for Hindi and class 5th students. Namaskar.